What's up, guys? This is Rodney with GaraCore EDC, and I got a couple things going on. I want to show this video is sort of in response to Twosun issues and some of the issues I've had with Twosuns. Not a lot. My main bone to pick with Twosun because I have quite a few, about 120, 30 something like that, is clips. The pocket clips are really great on some and crap on others. Either it's the design to where it doesn't work well in and out of pocket. It's not enough room to fit in jeans. But that's the main gripe. Besides that, there's a few other small issues here and there with fit and finish on some knives, but it's, for the most part, it's stuff that I can somewhat overlook. As a Twosun collector, some of the comments I've had, and I've been talking to one of my subscribers through email briefly, is some of the knives he has gotten have been flawed with white markings on the blade that he says are non-removable, and if he says they are, I believe him. I have personally went through my entire collection, and I cannot find any markings like the ones he showed me in the pictures he sent. He says he has reached out to Twosun through eBay and did not get the replies that I feel were good. So that's sort of disheartening and concerning to me as a Twosun purchaser. I've had, my phone just wiggled, I've had good success for the most part in any issues that I have had. I've had good customer service from either DWin99 or Twosun Knives, the two sellers that are on eBay. I personally have won more auctions through DWin99 than Twosun Knives. I'm sure they are affiliated with each other to some degree. I'm not sure if they're cousins or brothers or father and son. I'm guessing they're two sons, so maybe two sons of two fathers or one father. I don't know the story behind that. It's sort of the details are not out there, and the research I've done has not been fruitful, and I don't have any real insight on Twosun, except that they're a Chinese knife fabricator, manufacturer from Yangling City, the biggest city of knife manufacturing in the world, I guess. It's one city that's dedicated to knife making, and it's in China. Now granted, there's plenty of knife makers all over the world, but this video is about Twosuns. So where I want to go with this is I want to show two things to start off with, and then we'll go through some issues that I have on these knives you see here in front of you. We have the Twosun ts46, the Twosun ts56 in titanium and G10 of micarta. This one's in G10 and titanium, the 46. The ts48 in natural G10, not glow in the dark, and the ts176 in titanium. And like I said, there have been very minor issues. I had one knife, the ts186 Kingfisher, which I do not have it here in front of me. The blade grind was just a tad heavy on one edge than the other edge, and it was very minuscule, so I didn't get it out to show it. But like I said, I've gone through my entire collection, and I can't find any of the white markings on the, like, if the markings he was talking about. Now these knives are, the markings were running diagonal to the blade. In other words, there was marks here where the whole end of the knife was white looking, and then along the edge, the ground edge here was entirely white, not like paint, but just a sheen of white. And it, you know, it's definitely something that is not right. And he had contacted Twosun, and they said that that was part of the manufacturing process, and that's on that particular knife or model or whatever. And I have some of the same knives that he had in question, that he showed me pictures of his, that do not exhibit those marks or those flaws. This is not one of them. I don't know if he has the 107. The reason I pulled this one out, this is the knife that started my Twosun craze. This is the Twosun ts107 by Wong Design. And I got this, it's been a while back. I think just over a year now I've been collecting Twosuns, which is not a long time to have as many as I have. But I seen, as a machinist, and y'all have to understand that I've been a manual mill operator, lathe operator. I've been a manual mill operator for the last 10 plus years. But I've done all kinds of machining, generally in the manual areas, be it mills, lathes, grinders, planers, shapers, VTLs, vertical bore mills. You name it, I've probably run it. I've got experience doing it. I'm a very highly qualified machinist, and I make a lot of parts day in, day out. I've been doing this. I've been a machinist since 1990. And I have an attention to detail, so I can see when there's a flaw or something is not right, and I'm putting snail trails on my knives. But when I got this Twosun, and I seen the work that was exhibited into it, you know, all the different contours and concave and all the different profiling work that is done to this knife, I can really appreciate it. And for the price points that Twosuns come in, you know, if this was an American-made knife, and I'm not disrespecting American-made manufacturers at all, because I know there's a price difference. They're paying, you know, people in China, I'm guessing, $1 a day or a bowl. You know, I don't want to insult in any way that I say anything, so I got to be careful how I say things. But I don't know what employment rates are over there and wages and so forth. I know that in America it costs money to fabricate something, but if this was a made in America knife, be it premium materials, and Twosun uses real titanium, and their M390 is M390, their D2 is D2. Now granted, it might not be as premium. The D2 might be a lesser variant of D2, but the molecular structure, D2 is D2. A lot of factors come into play as far as heat treat and the way it's been processed that makes up how it holds up to edge retention and ability to sharpen, or being too tough or too hard or too brittle, too soft. All those play a factor in it. But this would be a $300-400 knife easily made in the USA. And they are not. Most of the Twosuns are sub $100. You know, you can get some very nice examples for $30 and $40. Usually that's the G10 models. And if, you know, they have become more popular here as of lately, because there are more YouTubers like me and others that are showing them on their channels, and the prices are going up. Sad for me, but I'm glad that people are recognizing that the quality and value that comes in a Twosun. And again, the 107 is the knife that started it for me. This was Wong Design is known for his larger knives, and I seen all the micro milling that was done on this knife, hardened insert, titanium, front and back frame, D2 blade, nice, very pointy, long belly, lanyard option, 3D mill titanium pocket clip. Everything spoke to me quality, precision. That's what I see when I hold a Twosun. And it has been true to form in my collection of Twosuns. For the majority, for the most part, I'm very pleased with Twosuns. I just got this one the other day. This is my first integral slip joint. And this is designed by a Rattlesnake. It's M390. A full titanium with a pocket clip that functions well in and out of pocket. It is a little thin, but it's designed. You can see here, if I can get it on frame to where you can see it, how the pocket clip has a slight curvature. Now, I don't know if this is by design. You can see that about right here, it ramps up just a little bit. My lighting in here is horrible. When I'm working on lighting, that sort of shows it there, to where you have more room in the pocket till about where my thumb is, and then it gets narrower. And this is one of the issues I have with Twosuns, is where it's narrow back here, it's more room up here. It needs to be that amount all the way to the clip. It's almost like the cutout area for this clip was done too deep, or this clip should have been taller where it mounts to the frame, and that would have kept it nice and even off the knife. Even though this knife works pretty well in pocket for what it is, it's a flaw in my eyes. You know, it's the fine little details. Here's another little thing that's hard to show on camera because it's not shown, but we have 3 screw heads, and this is in the screws. And I've had steel wheels and real steels and artisans and benchmades and all brands of knives. You know, they buy their screws and hardware from a supplier. And being in the machining industry, I well know how one screw can be great and one screw can have a burr on it, or the head is 10th difference in height. You know, these variances come into play, and I'm sure on a knife that cost $200, $300, $400, something like this would not be an issue. But with this knife, we have 2 screws. The head is exactly the same, and then one screw, the one here at the front, if I can get it to focus, the chamfer on the Torx area is just slightly heavier. You can see a chamfer, and this is stuff like I'm talking about here that I see as a machinist. You can actually see the finish is a little duller on the front screw compared to the back 2 screws. Now, I have not took this apart, but I imagine that all 3 screws are the same. And I would like to see that. And that's actually something I'm going to contact. I got this knife through DWin99 on eBay. I'm going to contact him and see if he can send me another screw. He's done it with other knives. I had one knife, the ts254 Jaeger by Vitesse Design. It was missing a screw. They put it together, put it in the box, bagged it up, put it in the bag, shipped it to me. I got it. It was missing a screw. I contacted him. Not a problem. He sent me another screw. That's the customer service I'm used to with Twosun. So this is another example of, I'll send a message and hopefully I'll get a good reply. Does it make a difference that he probably looks at my purchase history and sees that I buy a lot of knives? It shouldn't. It might, but it shouldn't make a difference. It doesn't matter if you've bought one knife or 1,000,000 knives. A customer is a customer, and that's how customer service should work. Every customer is valued. But anyway, I really like this design. It's got some micro milling there. I don't know if it's hard to picture, but this is a Rattlesnake. I think I have one other knife by him. It's got a fairly decent walk and talk for an integral. You can see that this spring bar rides up and it's bolted in instead of the spring bar the entire perimeter or in the entire back of the frame. Nice lanyard option. Clip looks decent. Nice blade. And it's got fingerprints on it. And maybe in the light here I can see, if I hold it just right, I can see a faint white edge on this one. And this is one of my most recent purchases. I don't know if that's, I have cut a few pieces of tape today with this. I'm thinking that's residue, but I'll clean that off and re-show this knife to see if that's something that comes off. Now, I'm not seeing, I do see a gradient haze here, but you know, depending on the light, that's the grinding operation. And maybe the pictures he's showing, like I said, I've cut some packages open today. I did a video earlier, which I didn't use this one, but I cut something else today with this because this has been in the pocket also. But anyway, this is, you can, my camera will not focus, but this is Twosun knives made in, if pronouncing that right, Liang, China. If you can see that on camera. Has a nice sharpening choil. Now the spring retention on this is fairly weak. I could see that it would close on you under hard use because it is a slip joint. It's not a liner lock. It's not a frame lock. It's got a quiet walk and talk. Blade centering is right down the center. You can see that it is a titanium full integral minus the lock bar, the spring bar, if that's what you want to call it. Just an overall nice little knife. And I have not took this apart or cleaned it or done anything to it. This is just as received. And you can see I've probably wiped it. And one thing I will say about Twosuns, they come bathed in oil. And if you are not careful, if you wipe this off unintentionally and there's any kind of grit or anything in the packaging where because I don't know how well they clean their knives when they're done with them, the manufacturing process, and the shop environment there could be not the most desired, and there could be grit and grime in their oil or whatever the case may be. And if you're not careful, and I'm not saying it's happened on a couple of them, but it has, I have scratched the blades when I'm wiping them down. You know, sort of like your glasses. You know, at my work, if I'm not careful when I clean my glasses that I use, I take a chance of scratching the lenses. Moving on, with that being said, because we're at 17:30 minute mark and I don't have a whole lot of time. Flaw number one, my biggest pet peeve, is a knife that will cut you. This is the Twosun ts254. I did not want to return this knife. It was my option to keep it. He said I could return it. This was the design. That was the reply I got back from DWin99. This was an inherent flaw that I do not think they have fixed. They're still selling this knife. I haven't seen it lately, but it is available, I think. Right here, if you rub your finger in there, you can see that tip is right there, that edge. It's literally right there. So if you press with your finger and pull back, it will cut you. Guaranteed. It's cut me. I know it. That's a flaw to me. Something needs to be addressed, either by shortening the blade tip up just a little bit, which can be done, but depending on how close it is, it will still cut. But if I had something to show you, a piece of wood or a pin, let's see if I can get this to grab. It's not going to grab on a pin because it's so soft. But I'm going to rub it with this pin, okay? Can you see that scratch mark there? Of course you can't. But you can see that scratch right here. That's just from the pin rolling into it. So that's a flaw. This knife is a great knife. The action is good. I like it. It's still got oil on it from being in storage. And I'm reckoning, you know, under extreme light, you know, depending on what light, I got it under the light of the camera, I can see some lines, and maybe I need to go back through my collection under better lighting, because I was pulling them out of the case in my bedroom over the overhead light, and I did not have this light shining on them. Maybe I do see some gradient lines in the grinding process, because I do see a couple lines through here. So maybe there is an issue on some of my samples. I know I did not see some of this before. Now, granted, I did not look at these when I pulled them out. I knew that these knives had flaws, so I didn't even look at them. I pulled them out to show. Next knife, the Twosun TS48 in jade. I have this in titanium also. Now, this is not burrs or bubbles where it's getting ready to break out like you would see in a piece of plastic or steel to where the hole's so close. What that is because this is jade and it's see-through, the holes are so close to the edges that you can see the clearness through them. So that really shows up. That's a flaw in my eyes. Is it a problem? No, but because it's I wouldn't say it is a manufacturing method or issue with the way it's been done. It's just because the materials, and I wanted to point that out. If this was black, you would not see those marks in it. This is one of those pocket clips that I don't like. And you can almost see a tad bit of rust in those screw heads. And that's the first time I've seen that. This has been in storage. So that's probably using a cheaper grade steel. Now this one has been in a bag for quite a while. I've not carried it in quite a while. I don't see any lines on this one, except fingerprints. And maybe a scratch. That's those two. Now, the Twosun TS46. You can see the black area where I've marked this blade. If that was sharp, that would be cutting you. That's blade sticking out of the frame that I've marked with Sharpie for me to do a grinding job on, to fix, because at one time I was thinking about sharpening both sides of this blade. You can see how much of that blade sticks out. It does not stick out on the titanium sample that I have, because it is done differently. It's close, but it's not there. Now, the one thing I noticed, now these knives have dust and grease and another flaw that I've seen, and I bought this secondhand, not from Twosun, is on the one I got from Twosun, originally a white and black G10 that I dyed blue. You can see the Twosun on this side and the D2. And on the titanium version, the presentation side, you see the night morning is upside down and the D2. Same side, show side. Twosun is not on the show side. So it's almost like the blades got marked backwards. On all of the samples I have, Twosun is on the front presentation side. On this one, it's the designer's mark and the steel make. On the G10, there you go, you have the Twosun on the front, D2, and then on the back, you have the night morning. On the back of the titanium version, the Twosun is on this side. And my light's really showing up all the grease and dust. And I'm going to go through my entire collection again under a flashlight, so I can really see for flaws. I got a whole box of flashlights. I should have a good excuse to have plenty of lighting to look at my Twosuns. And then last is the Twosun TS56. I have a micarta version and a titanium version. And the issue I have with these two, both of them, the blade where this cutout is in both samples that's the sharp side, will cut you, because they've done a cutout. You can literally see the shimmer of the blade right there in both of them. It's so close that if you were to take your finger and rub in this area with any kind of pressure, you would get cut. So that's a flaw. I don't know why this cutout is here. It's for aesthetics, but they should have done something, made the blade a little bit lower in the blade. And then on the micarta version that I have, the finishing, you can see the little feathering pieces of micarta to where it hasn't been finished, sanded, or deburring, as I would call it, the finishing process. You can see it all around on the interior, all these little, there's a name for that, and it's totally escaping me at this moment, but it's around the entire perimeter of the knife on the portion that's mounted to the scales, the liners. Can that be fixed? Yes, most definitely. It's just a matter of taking it apart, and it's something that I was planning on doing, and taking those little feathered edges, feathering them down, and getting rid of those that little slag, if that's what you want to call it. Like when you cut a piece of metal out, it leaves a edge that needs to be deburred and removed. And I'm guessing the process of machining this micarta, it left that same issue that needed to be addressed. I like both of these knives, and I'll probably be keeping them. Something I would definitely do is sharpen this blade down. I actually watched a video, 2 videos. I watched Hawaii Knife and Gears of the day of one he was going to be giving. He gave, I think it's the micarta version, or it might be a G10 version, I can't remember. He gave it to Neves Knives, and Neves is using it in a giveaway, and he's going to fix the sharpened blade area so it sits below flush and won't cut you. So, and I'll be doing the same thing to these two. And that's what I have for you today. I hope y'all have a great evening, a great weekend. I'm sorry this video was longer. I wanted to address a few issues. I wanted to show the Twosun that started my collection, and I wanted to show the Twosun ts254 slip joint integral, and of course this is the 107, the ts107, and the few issues, and talk about the concerns that other Twosun people are having with some of the knives they're getting. And again, I did notice on a few knives the little resonant lines. They're definitely more prominent on the pictures that were sent to me by one of my subs, and he was having. And if you guys are watching me, I'm sure y'all are enjoying Twosun. So if any of y'all are having any of the same issues or notice any of the same problems, please comment below, because I'm sure there are other Twosun people that are out there that are having some of the same problems too. Leave it in the comment section. Let us know. Let us communicate. Let us get feedback so we can all try to fix this, and Twosun will make things right and make things better. They're definitely on top of designs and making new products and getting knives out there. They're an aspiring company that's trying to make money like everybody else is, I guess. So just let me know what you think. Let me know how you like this video. Leave a comment. Subscribe if you're not a subscriber. I'll have a bunch of Twosuns I'll be showing. Maybe one day I'll sit down at the table and have every Twosun that I have out, and we'll just have a long video, and I can just walk and talk and show you what I got. This is Rodney with GearCore EDC. It's 30 minutes. Please watch the whole video. Of course, I'm saying that at the end of the video. So y'all have a great day, great night. God bless. Remember, subscribe, hit that like or dislike button, and leave a comment, and I'll try to get back with you. Thank you so much. Keep that edge right. Bye now.